pretty lucky here. All right, dude. I see it's either pitch black with you over there, or that's just the curtain that's down. But it's
Um, so it's not
both.
pitch black, but it is the sun has not risen yet this morning.
The sun has not risen yet. You are looking energetic and ready to go.
Hey, my Aura says that my chronotype is early morning. So
Is it?
yeah. What
'Cause
is yours?
mine is. I think mine says I'm an early riser, but not a super early one. I'm like early, but not super early. I don't know if there's any other
Interesting.
way
I
to
wonder,
describe it.
I wonder because I've only heard of a couple and I haven't heard of that one. So that's
Oh
news.
my God. So tell
But that
me,
doesn't mean it's not a thing. I just have only asked a handful of people what their chronotype is. So,
I
you know
might be misinformed. That is an option that I think we should definitely consider. Should definitely consider.
what I mean?
Should definitely consider that one. So your average wake time is what usually?
My average wait time is probably between 5:45 and 6:45.
Okay. And when you wake up, like, you like, are you like groggy, or like, are you like up
I
and at
mean,
'em sort of guy?
I'm pretty up and at 'em. I try to go back to bed and it never works. It
Okay.
never works.
Okay.
But what I've noticed lately from the past 2 weeks is if I stay in bed and go on my phone, my heart rate stays so low that it counts it as restorative time. You know the
Oh,
restorative time? So,
I
and
know
it's
their
really
story
hard
time.
for me to get restorative time. So I love when I see it, but it's interesting. It's bittersweet that it's I'm getting restorative time when I'm scrolling on my phone in the morning in bed because I think of that as being counterproductive. I want to get up right away and start my day. Maybe if I wonder if I could just read a book in my bed, if that would be better. But I just don't really like the idea of waking up and scrolling on my phone immediately.
Yeah, I hear you. I
What
hear
do
you
you
on
do? Are you get up out of bed right away? Or
I I recently, normally I would say I'm not like it's the morning rise and shine. Let's have a beautiful day. Like usually it takes me a little bit to like early. Like usually I have that.
yeah.
But I've gone out recently. I go like I try to not snooze anymore and say, okay, this is the wake up time. Like, boom, hit the stop. And now I've been going into the past couple months a breathwork routine that I'm quite obsessed over. And I try to
Ah,
get into that like as quickly as possible. Because let me tell you, after that breath, it's 10 minutes. After those 10 minutes, I mean, I feel like really my best self. So it takes those 10 minutes to get there. So I try to shorten the time between, okay, snooze or stop the alarm clock and then get into the breath work. I try to shorten that time as quickly as
yeah,
possible because,
I do it immediately.
yeah, the shorter I shorten that time, the quickest I'm able to feel like my best self after 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, I'm like, let's start the day. I'm like, let's do this. Let's have another day, you know?
That is fascinating. Okay, so please enlighten us. What is this breath work?
So this one is the Wim Hof breathing, which
Okay.
are you familiar?
I have an idea of what that is, but I'm not really, I don't know all the details.
Okay. Someone showed me this routine actually as I was traveling this past summer 2024. I was in Greece and I met this guy. We did this breathwork routine together. And in short, the feelings that I got afterwards told me, okay, this is something special. But I never actually got on the routine after that. And that was just my first experience. Essentially, what it is deep belly and chest breath followed by a strong exhale. So, for example, it's a, and so that is
Is that
the,
two deep breaths in?
yeah, it's kind of one, but it's a wavy one that fills the belly first and then moves into filling up the chest. So it's a
Mm.
so the practice is essentially 30 rounds of that. The inhale and exhale is one round, 30 rounds. You hold your breath for a minute and a half after the last exhale, and then you go straight back into again. So if you 30 mini rounds, create one round, you do that 3 times, and that's the practice. That will take you 10 minutes, and it is really, really something. So what this Wim Hof guy is, which I don't know a lot of people about him, but he does get a bad rap. That's one thing that I know.
I think it depends on who you're talking to. But
Okay,
yes,
okay,
he can get a bad rep, but I know some people that admire him.
okay. I don't know anything about him other than the fact that his breathing works. So I'm just like, let me just take that from you and I'll just use that. But I know that he has fought off diseases using this breath. And in terms of cold exposure, he has endured some very harsh climates that have allowed him to experience that by being able to create this internal state using this breathing. But that's essentially what it does. It's really like you have to like work your body because it is one thing that it is hard work. So I don't hit the alarm clock and I'm like, let's get into the breathing because you do have to work. Like it's like I have to force myself to breathe and then exhale quite hard. The more effort I put in, the better I feel after. So it is kind of like, input, strong input will equal like a solid output. But the feeling that you get is this light clarity is beautiful. Like you can't help but smile after this. Like
Mm.
it's like you really can't describe it, but it's a feeling. It's a feeling that you get, and it's quite addictive, and it makes you think about what your true essence actually is because you're so tapped into this feeling that you've created by just your body, like just yourself. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
highly, I highly recommend you try. It doesn't have to be in the morning. It's the one that I do is a YouTube guided one. So it's breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, hold your breath. Feel your breath, feel your heartbeat, feel the blood flowing through it. It's a whole guided situation, but it is really, really cool. And I recommend you try it once just to see how you feel because it's one of those things where if you were telling me about this, I'd be like, all right, bro, cool. Like, it would be hard for me to really fully
Yeah, no,
understand
the
it.
thing is, this isn't the first time I've heard it. Even my
Okay.
colleagues at JP were talking about, some of them were talking about how powerful this is, this breath work. So let me just make sure I'm understanding you correctly. It's br the breathe in to fill up your stomach, and it's through the nose, and then you try to fill up your chest afterwards, and then a long breath out. And that's one
Exactly.
sort of rep, and you have to do that 30 times. And then you hold your breath for 1 minute. And that altogether, the 30 times with the 1 minute is one round, and you have to do 3 rounds of that.
You got it.
Okay.
You got
Okay.
it.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then I wonder what happens to your heart rate. Do you think you're waking up? It sounds as if you're waking up and you're becoming sort of reinvigorated after, because I want to say some of the people were using it as a means to get energy during the day. Middle of the day, they start getting sleepy after lunch, middle of the afternoon to get another sort of second wind of energy. So I wonder what happens to your heart rate. Have you monitored that at all? Do you know if your heart rate is going up, you would imagine?
It's actually going down. And that's
Mm,
part of as you do the guided one, Wim Hof is speaking, and what he's saying is feel your heartbeat and slow it down because you're right. As you do the actual breathing, you're creating some sort of state in your body that's like, oh, what's going on? Like something is happening here because we're breathing as if there's a kind of a monster chasing us, right? Or something like that.
Mhm.
and then you hold the breath. So you are completely right. As you hold the breath, that's when like you feel your heart beating because you're still nothing is moving and your heartbeat is beating faster than your normal one, than your standard line, I would say, from that breathing. And then the practice is to like slow it down. So it's almost as if you're putting your body in a state of fear on purpose, consciously, and then you're consciously bringing it back to a calm and saying, "You're good, man. Relax.
Interesting.
You're good." But because I think you are making that decision, right? You're putting the body under stress and you're telling your body to relax. I think that's there's some power that comes through that. It's
Yeah,
a theory, I guess.
that does seem like a powerful experiment or powerful exercise.
It
That's
is pretty
interesting.
cool. Yeah.
I had a little bit of a docket, but I want to stay on this topic of health because I'm curious, is that the only type of meditation that you do? Because I vividly remember going to your place in Chicago, going into your room and seeing this really aesthetically pleasing setup that you had. And when I asked you, you mentioned it was for meditation. So were you doing this Wim Hof breathing there, or was that something else? And what was that you're doing? Are you no longer doing any other type of meditation?
You're bringing me back for that little station. That was a great little station. And I think that like got me involved into the game. And without that cute little aesthetically pleasing little station, like I wouldn't have ever really fallen in love with meditation as much as I am now. So that is important. Just the look, the feel, the cushion, the little
Hmm.
rug, the little I had a little plant, I had a little yeah, it was great. What I was doing back then is not the Wim Hof breathing. That is new. I was that one was simply I tried to sit down in the morning just as soon as I got up. Instead of checking my phone, like get up. I was snoozing quite a bit during my time at JP. I was definitely snoozing. So I was snoozing quite a bit, but snooze, whatever you need to do, sit just for a second. And I had a journal right there in that station too that I would just literally write. And my cousin actually has read some of these journal entries and she's made fun of me, but I'd be like, "Good morning, King," and she'd always do fun.
I love
Good,
it.
mo- good morning, King. I'm like, good morning. Good
Wait, how
morning.
did you let your cousin get her hands on that?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know.
That is,
I
my
don't
journal
know.
is sacred. Nobody
It's
is touching my journal. I've actually had a conversation with someone back in college about this, my old roommate, and he wanted his journal to be so much of a open, free space that, of course he wouldn't want anyone to read it, but sometimes he felt as if he couldn't even be fully open because someone might get their hands on it. And he felt like he was sort of filtering out what he was writing down because just in case of the chance someone picked it up, which is
that's
such an interesting idea. But carry on, carry on.
that's so real. That's such a real thing. I felt like that. I feel like that sometimes too. I think that's one of those things that just gets better with practice. And the more you journal, the more you're like, the more you hear that voice, and it's like, all right, man, like it's possible. You're right. It's possible someone gets my hand on the journal, but like, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah, there's some weird stuff in there. There's definitely some weird stuff in there. Good Morning King is like the room scratching. That's the top of the iceberg, you
Right.
know? Like, so that's that is a good point. I feel that though. I think over time though is one of those things where, and I even think a lot sometimes still today as a journal is like I need to provide a little bit more context if someone finds this in 100 years. It's like I'm writing this name of this random person, but like no one's gonna know who this person is. So I am the back of my mind. There is a thought like somebody eventually gonna be, whether it's me when I'm 80, or me in 2 years, or me or someone else. That is a thought in the back for
That's
sure.
interesting. Okay, so back to this meditation. You
Okay,
stopped doing that meditation because you thought the Wim Hof was better, or did you have a hiatus from meditation between the two?
so let's go back to when we had the meditation station. So in the morning, we woke up, we had the journal, we wrote two sentences super quick, and we maybe breathed if we have time for like 2 minutes. And by
Yeah, because
breathing,
you were reading that book that was just sort of a one quote book, or not a one quote book, but a one
yes,
passage book, right? Well, or one passage per day kind of book.
the Daily Stoic. Yeah, Daily
Yes.
Stoic. Yeah, completely right. So read the one page, wrote something down. Usually that was as much time as I had it, and I went with my day. At night is when I did 10 minutes of meditation, and that is also guided through the Calm app. I actually love the Calm app. I'm not just familiar, but 10 minutes of guided. That one is what you would think of as your traditional meditation, the normal focus on the breathing, sitting there and just seeing what comes up, right? You're standing level. So fast forward to, let's say, this most recent season, call it, yeah, call it 2025, is Wim Hof in the morning. Then we do 20 minutes of what is called the transcendental meditation, which sounds
Hmm.
kind of woo-y, but I think I might have mentioned this one to you, where this one is more mantra based. And how I think of it is I do the Wim Hof, I'm feeling good. I sit down, and what I tell myself is like, I let my mind just play. Like, you do your thing, go for it. Whatever, whatever thought you have, just go. I have nothing to hide. Come on, man. Your worst thought, your darkest, just come on out. This is your chance. So I say that to myself, and then I'm saying, while you do your thing, I'm going to focus on this one mantra. The mantra is I am, I am. And so that is the practice. So I'm reciting this mantra, I am, which is a very powerful one. I don't know, it's just 2 words, but it does resonate with some sort of feeling that you feel. And in the meantime, your mind is going with whatever is playing. You will realize when you tell your mind to go play, it's like, oh, that's no longer fun. Like I'm only talking random stuff because you're not aware of me and it pisses you off when I do that. But when you tell me to go play, like I got nothing to do, man. I got nowhere to go. So it just kind of calms down in that way. And then like what I also say to myself is, you've got some good stories, man. You've got some good stories, so you will distract me. So I will get distracted right from the mantra. I'll follow the story, my thought of where we go. Notice I'm distracted, and I'll come back in. Try to do that with gentleness and not get too fussed over. Sometimes I get fussed over, and that is a practice. So it's like starting over and over again. So I say, and we start over again, and we start over again, and we go again, and we go again, and we go again. So that's 20 minutes. So all in total, 30 minutes. Um, and I'm ready to get going with my day. And then that's the morning. And then fast forward to the night, I still do the 10 minutes of calm before going to bed. That one's easy. That one's I lay down, I put on my headphones. That one's very relaxing, kind of slow down the heart rate before you go to bed. Take off the headphones and hit that. That is
So,
the practice
okay.
right now.
But that was the practice.
Sorry, that is the practice right now.
That is the practice right now.
That is the practice right now. Before it was just little journaling in the morning and then the 10 minutes at night before going to bed.
Okay,
Now,
gotcha, gotcha,
now,
gotcha.
now we've incorporated the breath work in the morning, the TM, the transcendental meditation, and then which one?
Comment.
Call it exactly the calm at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay, wow.
That's
You've
the
got
practice
a
now.
really good routine. I mean, at least it seems as if it's been very beneficial.
It's been great. These past couple of months have been great with this routine. Yeah, yes. And I hadn't had like since leaving JP, right, April 2024, I struggled to find my routine. I struggled to find my routine. And so it's nice being like having the job with the girls, being an au pair with the girls was a good kickstart to, okay, having something that I have to wake up for in the morning. And then from there, we were able to build on the routine. What I'd like to get to one day is, a place where it doesn't matter what I do, what the external activity is. If I have a job, if I don't have a job, like we're waking up at this time and this is what we're doing as if we've got something to do, which most of the time, yeah, I do have stuff that I want to do. So just making it me making that enforcement would be cool. Would be cool. But I am happy. I'm happy with the routine right now. And I think I am like a guy, a man of routine. Like I try to, it depends really on my mood because I am also like a going with the flow. I can't be a
Hmm.
going with the flow kind of guy, but I do love my routine. I do love it.
Yeah, routines are good. Routines are really good.
How's
It,
your how's your new city settling down? Have you managed to settle down? Because I know you just got there now. It's almost 2 months now,
yeah,
actually.
it's been a little bit. It's been a little
It's
bit.
almost 2 months. And I haven't even heard, I mean, we can get into it, but let's start with routines. If you've been able to knock them down, if you even
Yeah.
feel like you need some in this season,
Say that last part one more time.
even if you even feel like you need some,
Okay, yeah, no, I am also a man of routine, a creature of habit. And that was one of the first things I did when I got here. So I came out with my buddies, and as soon as they left, I started looking for gyms because that's one thing that I need to be exercising. It feels weird when I'm not exercising. I want to say it has something to do with the energy I have and just wanting to get rid of some energy, whether it's running, lifting weights, playing a sport, right? Those are the things I need to have that in my it needs to happen multiple times a week for me. But so that was the first thing I did. I got a gym membership. I did a free trial. I did some research. I wanted to do something close, but I did a free trial and I signed up for the one that I did the free trial just because I was already I was used to it after the end of the week. It wasn't bad. It wasn't it's not a magnificent gym. It's not an Equinox or anything of that nature, but it has everything I need and I don't need much. So that was what started the routine. It was going there, let's say 4 to 6 times a week. And then, but the thing is, it's not a very strict routine. I am a little bit of go with the flow because I started out going after work, and then most recently, I've been waking up early and trying to go before work. And really, what I've been doing to create my routine is backing into my best sleep. That is sort of the foundation of my routine as of late. Right? I haven't been doing this for long. I haven't had the Oura for that long. And when you put it in perspective, I mean, I've only had it for 6, 7 months. So, but that has been a big driver in my routine. So if I see, okay, my score
shout out
was not
Aura.
good. Huh? Shout out Aura,
Shout out Aura.
honestly. Shout
Like
out Aura.
what you just said is like you guys are those people who are sleep, yeah, but or you're telling me the details of your sleep, and all my what I do is based on yes. Or
I know. I really look at that as a wonderful thing. I am trying to I'm really just prioritizing health at the end of the day. And to me, that is so vital. So vital.
This is not a sponsored video. However,
It's not.
Oderah, if you are listening, oh, that is
Oh, yeah,
okay.
so that's kind of and it started with honestly, it started with people like Matthew Walker. And I don't know if you saw me and Matthew Walker had a little bit of an exchange on Twitter or on X, I should say. And I was so blown away by him responding to me. I just couldn't even fathom why he would respond to me. So if you don't remember, Andrew Huberman tweeted something about mouth tape, and then I tweeted out because it was, you know what it was? It was I saw Andrew Huberman's tweet right away because I don't even have the verified check. So my stuff has fallen to the bottom, right? Mine is
Fine.
not prioritized. But I added Matthew Walker immediately on this new Andrew Huberman tweet, and he responded to my mention, which was so interesting. And then not only that, but he then pinned his tweet responding to me and made a poll, right? You remember that? That was
I
for
remember.
had it on his he had it on his Twitter or his X for a week. And that was just it was a real cool moment for me just because he is the reason why I bought the Aura in the first place. Yeah, so he's a PhD at Berkeley and he's an advisor for Aura and he's one of the most renowned sleep scientists in the world. So that was the first
Wow.
person I heard about sleep. He's the one who got me into this fascination over sleep and making sure that you're getting good quality sleep and the importance behind that. So anyway, a little bit of a side note,
That's beautiful.
but that and we can go down a tangent of how wonderful these podcasts are and social media can be because we have access to these scientists and these really accomplished people that we didn't have access to in this type of way, or humanity didn't have access to in this type of way for a long time. Now, yes, so what I try to do is I look at my score, I see usually what I struggle with, and I'd be curious to see what you struggle with is REM. My REM sleep is not always ideal. It's not always optimal. And if I talk to a lot of other people my age, they don't struggle with REM sleep. They struggle with deep sleep, which is really interesting. And I have a sample size, again, similar to the size of the sample size I have for chronotypes. It's not very big. It's only let's say 5 to 10 people I've talked to about it. And but I have seen that pattern within these 5 to 10 people, which is if they struggle with anything, it's going to be deep sleep, perhaps latency, but not really REM. So for me, it's REM, and I try and do things to increase REM. And usually what that is eating and drinking, stop eating and drinking earlier before bed. That's the big lever that I usually try to maneuver. And it's tough because it's not perfect, right? I'll stop eating and drinking a little bit earlier and I'll just have a bad quality sleep across the board. It could be unrelated. Maybe I'm fighting illness. Maybe I remember I did that last week sometime and had minor symptoms, right? It says, for those of you who don't know, or is really cool in this way where it says you have minor symptoms
It
and then
will tell you.
yeah, and it's
Can't
it's
get around
amazing.
it.
And I knock on wood because of last week, hey, you thought you were getting sick. I've never been sick in the traditional way. I remember I told everyone that I was kind of 99% right now in terms of fighting off this weird congestion thing. But I haven't been sick since I got this aura. However, I've had the minor symptoms multiple times and I didn't work out those days. I slowed down. I focused on recovery those days. I drank a lot, consumed a lot of water. Now, 6 months isn't that long. So we'll see how it goes. I'm
Yeah.
fully aware, but I'm curious if I had minor symptoms and I didn't know about it, and I just went to the gym, worked out really hard because some of those days you feel fine still. You totally feel as if you could do whatever. But, Aura letting you know makes you kind of, for better or for worse, take those days off. but yeah, so my routine to answer the question, my routine has really been baked in to or backed in by focusing on my sleep. And then, some of that is I make sure to read before bed. So I've been doing the routine of reading before bed last night. And then, the book club. We've talked about the book club, which we'd love for you to join one day, but we'll talk
Yeah.
about that again. And then yeah, and working out, usually going for working out. It's not really consistent throughout the week. I've been playing with that to see what's the best. Right now it's been in the morning. And then the last thing is I try when I can get some sunlight in the morning, go on a morning walk again to kickstart the circadian rhythm. And again, kind of backing in sleep, but it's hitting two birds with one stone, right? And sleep is doing a bunch of things. It's making me feel good. So I'm backing into sleep, but what is that doing? Well, it's kind of backing into making me feel good. When do I feel the best? Right? That's sort of the thought process there. But yeah, that's my routine. That's what I've been focusing on. And it's funny because I don't have an abundance of friends here. But with a routine like this, and you mix in work 9 to 5, and you mix in cooking, I like to enjoy Whole Foods. I mean,
You don't need
you
that.
got you got a full plate. You got a full plate. Now I do not to say that I do believe social interaction is so important, which is why this these calls that we have, these podcasts are very important. And
Very
then
important.
I do also believe focusing on social interaction as a means to improve your health is critical, and that's something that I want to focus on more as well. But I'm curious your thought really quick on the sleep side. When you have bad sleep, do you know what it is that you're not getting enough of? Oh, I don't know if I lost you. Oh, you might
Uh,
have lost me.
I can hear you.
Okay, no,
Can you hear me?
I got you. Okay,
I'm just hitting
yeah.
a pondering look. For example, let me just think about this past week where I've had major signs. So I had 3 days I feel major signs on the aura. I had a body temperature reading that was super elevated, and that came back down towards the second, third day. Then we went from major to minor, and now finally, just today, I got like the reading that is a normal reading that doesn't have that warning. Sometimes I struggle with latency a little bit. Sometimes it's
Mm.
in the red, like over 30 minutes or so. But I would say my REM sleep and deep sleep numbers are usually pretty good. What sometimes I lack most of the time, if I am lacking something, is that did I go to bed on time and did I get my 8 hours? So sometimes
Timing,
you know
and then also
timing,
total sleep.
timing and total sleep. Sometimes you get that warning when it's like at 9 p.m. and it tells you you should be getting ready for bed tonight, right now, Oderah. And it's like 9 p.m. I just finished dinner, Mr. Aura. I'm not getting ready for bed right now. But thank you. I really appreciate you. And sometimes I push the sleep until maybe 11:30, which is too late for me. But sometimes I get a workout in late at night. Sometimes I go for a run at 9:30, and then at 10:30 come back home, shower. We're in bed at 11:30. Maybe we're falling asleep at 12, and then we're trying, and then we will be up at 6:30 the next morning. Total sleep. There, I have to do a better job of understanding. Something has to give there on that last couple hours, I think, to get to bed earlier. I think that's where I lack.
Yeah,
So just an understanding of what do I have to do to get to bed earlier while fitting the workout for the day. And it's unbelievable how important it is. Every single time, if I'm not like in a good mental headspace, all I have to do is ask myself, well, have you been working out? And that will give me the answer. Straight up, straight up. It's pretty powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people bifurcate mental health and physical health, but there's a lot of overlap there, right?
So
If
much.
you have no physical health, or if you're not focusing on physical health at all, your mental health will take by just by deeds how it works. But what you're doing on the meditation side is seemingly a focus on the mental health side of things. Or is that how you think of it? This is my time to focus on the mental health area of myself? Or do you not even think?
I don't think about it. I don't think about it. Although objectively it is a focus on the mental side of things. I'm thinking of the breath work real quick, and that is the definition of both. That is working on the physical to achieve that desired mental state. So that is a great kind of example of a two in one combination. But that's a good point. Do you think about how am I getting physically fit today and how am I getting mentally fit? Is that a thought that goes through your mind? And it's like,
No,
if I did
no,
both
no,
today, I got better. And if I got better, that was a good day. I don't usually think
no.
like that, but I can see why somebody would.
Right, right. No, and I am on the same page as you. I don't really think of it that way. Now, I do believe the focus on a healthy diet, whole foods, focus on good sleep, focus on exercising. I believe that it'll put you in a really good spot, a baseline spot for both physical and mental health right off the bat. Now, there are probably some ancillary stuff that you can do on the mental health side because those three things I listed out, diet, sleep, and exercise, do seem to maybe lean more towards physical, although sleep I believe is very all of them are very important for mental health as well. I believe all of them are very important for mental health. And you'll see people of the likes of, or people similar to Brian Johnson. I'm pretty sure Brian Johnson really recently just tweeted, if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling in a dark, like you're in a dark spot, focus on those three things. That's really what he said. Make sure you're exercising, make sure you're eating whole foods, just get rid of some of the junk, and make sure you're getting trying to aim for high quality sleep. And I do really believe that those will help you for a good portion of what you're struggling with. But if you can figure out other things that make you feel good, right? If they're your hobbies, whatever they may be, then you gotta focus on those too. So
Like that. Let's continue this in a second on this topic. And then I want to talk about friends. I want to talk about friends in new cities. I think we share that experience.
yeah, let's do it.
So,
All right. Well, you mentioned
how much
friends.
effort we just put into that.
Hmm?
I did. I said, hold on. How's my audio?
Oh, your audio's good. Audio's good.
They don't know how much effort we just put into that smooth transition. They don't
Wait, wait,
know.
wait, wait. I actually didn't hear that. What did you say?
I said, they don't know how much effort we just put into that smooth transition.
Well, they've seen the struggle the past two, at least definitely the last one.
They've seen the struggle, so they've seen the improvement. By the way, we were having some technical difficulties earlier this week with the Spotify upload. We still are. I know we have a few of you who are giving us a hard time. But I want to tell you, Oderah, part of the team, um, that should be up today. We got that figured out. Something with the MP4, yada yada yada. So
Oh, okay.
Joshua, who commented on the video, all good. We're gonna have that out for you in the next couple of days. A little late, but anywho, okay. So you just mentioned three really important things. You said sleep, diet, exercise, and we were about to add maybe one more thing there at the end, which is relationship.
Which is what?
And so, what you are relationships,
Oh, yeah.
relationships. I'm afraid my audio is not great, but I'm gonna keep going here. So, what you are saying, Oderah, is that if a person is in a rut, then they should ask themselves, how am I sleeping? How am I exercising? What am I eating and drinking? Those are the main three, but they should maybe also ask themselves, am I talking to my friends? Do I have a support system around me? How is my social life?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Those first three are
Is
what
that fair?
I consider my three pillars of health. But there could very well be a fourth one. I just haven't gone as deep into looking into the relationship side. However, that's something I do want to go into because it is important. And I do feel as if you do a really good job at that maybe fourth quasi pillar.
The fourth pillar, I would say if I were to choose two of my weakest out of the four, I would say my exercise is pretty strong. My sleep is pretty strong. The two that I struggle the most with are actually relationships and my diet. Those are the two that I struggle the most with. In terms of the diet part, I think more of a matter of consistency and discipline. And I love a nice, bright, shiny object. In this case, a buttery croissant or pain au chocolat. So I get easily distracted in that way. But relationships is difficult for me because I'm a person who does love their alone time. And as you said, when you are working on your diet, sleep, exercise, there might not be that much time for relationships, or you might have to make some time, consciously make some time and effort for the relationships. And moving into a new city makes you think about your relationships a lot. I don't know if you've had that a similar experience. Like, who do I actually keep in touch with? Who do I want to keep in touch with and continue building a relationship? The difficult truth that I've come to accept this year, but it's been very difficult for me is that like relationships change so much, and that's okay. And it's okay. And the best friend that you had in the previous city, you are not going to talk to them as much in the new city. That doesn't mean the bond isn't as strong. That doesn't mean you don't love each other as much. It's just what happens when the circumstances change. That is very difficult for me to accept, but I'm well on the way to. But let me know how you seem to resonate with the what which people you want to give your time to
Yeah, well, you
in
know
this
what?
new city of Denver.
Yeah, it to me, the other three pillars you could do right now, today, focus on them
Mm.
and do well in each of those areas if you put your mind to it. The fourth pillar is a little bit more difficult in the sense that I don't know. I mean, I could go to all of the run clubs here in Denver, or I could go to the run clubs next week. I could go to different get-togethers in the park. I could do different events in the city, but I'm not just going to meet an Isak the first time I go to one of these, right? So it's not in what I mean by that is I'm not going to necessarily find someone who I really jive with right away. And who knows how long that's going to take. So it's a different level of investment in time when it comes to developing and nurturing new relationships. This is more on the new relationship side. And I would love to have a another Isak here in the city with me in Denver. That would be phenomenal. That idea, there's no part of me that doesn't want that. But it's very hard to get yourself to want to continue going to these things when every time you're sort of not finding the type of person that you would maybe like to find at these events. And that's just how it goes. I mean, it took I didn't meet you until, after 22 years of life. And so it does take time. And I do what my biggest struggle is continuing to try and continuing to go to these things, try, meet new people. Yeah, maybe you won't jive right away, but also have an open mind because you don't know, I might not ever have another relationship like I do with you, but I can have one that's still as as let's say um I guess it's another really, really strong, good relationship that looks entirely different, right? That I have with someone who is entirely different. And so I think that's another thing is that you have to have an open mind. And then also, you're not going to always be best friends. There's not going to be fireworks right away. Right? Sometimes it takes time. And I really believe that. And I was talking to someone about this yesterday, especially when it comes to spouses and partners, right? Romantic partners. My girlfriend and I, we didn't have that spark right away. It took time. We were talking sort of off and on for 6 months. And I know, and I've talked to you about this before, I believe over time, I just even today become more and more in love with her over time, but it doesn't always work as if you run into them and you're in love right away, love at first sight. And I believe that there are parallels between that and friendships as well. But it is nonetheless a difficult thing to achieve. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? On the investment into friendships or whatever you have thoughts on.
First thing that came to mind was how when you move to a new city, you do have, you feel, at least I felt personally, this pressure to make new friends. Oh, I gotta go make new friends. I gotta do this. I gotta meet people. I have to. And then I think what happened to me is I slowed down and I'm like, why? Why? Do you want to? Do you want to do that? And I'm like, well, actually, what I was feeling is I was feeling that I wasn't even putting enough effort into my existing relationship. That's what I was feeling. And then I have this voice turning on my head that I have to go meet new friends at the same time. It's like, wait a minute, that is a not effective use of energy if I'm trying to do both more energy into existing relationships and more energy into meeting new friends. So I had to bring myself together and say, well, what do you care about? And to be completely honest, I don't care about meeting new friends in Paris. And it took me so long for me to even be able to say that because everyone's like, "Oh my God, have you met new people? Have you met new friends? How is it?" It's like, no, I haven't, and I truly don't care. Partly, I would say I would give a little asterisk. One of my closest friends, Omar, is here, and he plays a big role in that. So I have a good close relationship here in Paris. But anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent. To say that I think what you said is very important that it's hard to show up every single day to and go to an event and be super energetic and expect to find the close friend that you have. And when I think about the closest friends that I have now, I ask myself, well, how did you meet them? How much effort, how much effort did you put in to meet them? And it's when I think about it, I didn't put any effort. I was there at the place and I met Oderah. Maybe I put in a little effort. Maybe one of us had to put in a little effort to say hello when we were at the same place in the same room. But I never, there was never this difficultness, the stress about it. Or my random freshman year roommate, Harry, who you met, was one of my closest friends. How did you meet him? Random freshman year roommate. Did I have to put effort in for that relationship? Yes. But how did it come about? Life, man. Life. So I don't know. I think we can give ourselves some slack and say, look, I'm gonna continue living my life, going to things that I'm interested in going to. I'm gonna go to the gym because I like going to the gym. And it's also a social place. Maybe I meet someone at the gym. Maybe I don't. Maybe I go get my favorite Pokeball at my favorite Pokeball shop every week. And someone else who likes Pokeball, maybe a conversation starts that way.
Hmm.
Maybe not. So I guess I think the effort can come in when you put yourself, the effort comes after you put yourself in the environment. Putting yourself in the environment, you do it for you. You go to the concert for you. But once you're at the concert, there's other people. Maybe you feel a little bit awkward and maybe you want to say hello. That's where maybe you can push yourself to go a little bit above and beyond and say, hey, and start a conversation. But I think people can be more relaxed into actually putting yourself first in that environment and say, I'm gonna do that because I'm gonna go to that coffee shop because I like their coffee and we'll see what happens.
Hmm.
You know?
Shift the mindset from going to do something to meet friends, from that to I'm just gonna do things I like, and we'll see. We'll see who I
And we'll
meet along
see.
the way. But I'm going to focus on the things that I like to do. I'm going to put myself in environments that I want to be in and let nature run its course like it has for so many years. I mean, our relationship, it was so seamless. And I don't know if you remember the exact time, but I told you I remembered it. And you're like,
You're
"See what it was."
like, you're honest.
But it was so seamless. It was so seamless. I didn't go over to you. I was talking to uh, I was talking to someone who the groups just sort of merged together. It was so
Yeah,
seamless. And I don't remember exactly how it worked. I just remember, oh, Isak, this or you who I saw before just throughout the training just are standing right there, and I know people around, like I'm friends, I've already sort of met and been introduced to people around. Honestly, probably because we're both black, that had a
yeah.
because other people were black too. It just sort of was it was actually very seamless in that sense. Um, but yeah, there wasn't it wasn't a let me go in, look for other it was also with the black people too. It wasn't, oh, let me look for other black people and talk to them. No, it was just, oh, black dude's right here. Hey, what's up?
No, no,
It was so casual.
it's like another natural common ground was created, almost as if, oh, we're at the coffee shop, it means we both like coffee. Oh, it's like this is something that we might have in common, and so it naturally sparked a conversation almost. Yeah, it's
Interesting.
crazy. Like, but I'd be curious if you would run that with the current friends that you have, the current people in your life that you consider yourself the closest. How the meeting stories, if you run through the meeting stories, if they were ones of such effort,
So
now
seamless.
that I think about it, seamless, right?
All of them. All of them.
Mm.
And that's why it feels almost so unnatural to be very, very intentional about making friends. And because people were asking me the same thing, oh, who are you going to be friends with when you had to, and now lately I've been doing things with some of my coworkers very seamless, right? Similar to how I made friends in Southern California, or well, in Orange County, LA area, coworkers, and then extension of coworkers. So then now one of my coworkers put me in a basketball group chat. Now I'm going and playing basketball with these people. Oh, you work with someone who went to my university? Oh, that's interesting. Someone in the basketball group chat. So it's just so seamless. And you just have to, again, do things that you like. I like playing basketball, right? So you meet people that way. So I do agree that once you start taking it a little too serious,
Yeah,
it probably does more harm than good.
yeah,
And
definitely the case.
there are a lot
Definitely
of
the case.
parallels between that and many things in life. And I saw a tweet recently that was saying, don't try to over optimize your life. Don't try to be perfect in everything. And I sometimes fall victim to that or fall guilty to that, trying to make sure my sleep is perfect. Oh shit, my sleep wasn't good. And I'm kind of in a little bit of a rut. And my girlfriend will be like, don't take it that serious. Yeah, yeah, you had a bad sleep score. It's fine. You can you can get another good one. So it's easier said than done sometimes, but you don't
Mhm.
want to over optimize. At the same time, you don't want to use that logic to let yourself sort of fall off the rails and not focus on the important things to you, right? To you. That's also key.
To not take good care of yourself. Yeah, don't let that be an excuse to not take good care of yourself.
Hmm.
But the over optimization, I mean, I fall victim to that all the time. And I would say that's the other coin, that's the other side of the coin of the knowledge that we have available to us. Like you can go on the internet and you can find out how to speak the best, how to speak like the best top 1% of people. You can do that for diet too and find out how to speak like the best human possible. And you can do that with exercise. But can you really be top 0.005% in all three categories in the world? Probably not. And so, yeah, my mind struggles with that. I'm like, damn, really?
This is interesting. I do want to switch off and go off on a tangent and talk a little bit about coffee shops because it just happens to be
Huh,
very relevant to me. And I am now going on this coffee shop journey to try to figure out which coffee shop I want to go to frequently, or which ones I want
nice.
to frequent. And I don't want so and you can get in a habit of just going to the same one. You find a good one, just go to the same one. But I want to explore. So talk to me about your coffee shop journey. How are you finding these? Are you just looking them up? Are you looking at reviews? And you're at a different one right now, so you're not just going to one. Is it one you've been to before? Are you just going to a couple now? Or are you still exploring new?
Mm. Mm. The coffee shop journey, the new city coffee shop journey. That's an important path in someone's life. It's
It is.
important.
It really is.
I have found my number one. that I frequent the most, and it fits the best in with my routine during the week. So that's the one I frequent the most. To get there, I dated. I went around. I slept around a little bit. Night here, day here. I tried my
Wow. Oh
coffee
my
shop.
goodness.
I try. I tried my coffee shop. I did my thing. And that, how did I find them? Reddit mainly. I love Reddit. Finding stuff like that.
And,
Chat
and then
GPT number two.
let's dive into Reddit for a second then. How do you utilize Reddit in what you think is the best way? Because Reddit can sometimes be this hodgepodge of random stuff and you don't really know. I mean,
Yeah.
you see the likes, it's just the interface is not the most aesthetically pleasing. It's not the maybe the easiest thing to maneuver and the easiest thing to understand right away. So are you just, or I guess, how do you go about it? Because I'm not a Reddit user. I've tried going on there for some things and I just never find it to be very useful for me. So, but I know it is for so many people, and I think it comes down to how you're using it.
It is an ocean of a whole lot of information. It really is. It really is. If I'm looking for coffee shops to go to in Paris, I'd search best coffee shops in Paris that have outdoor seating. Something about the sun, right? First thing is like, I'm going to a coffee shop. It's spring, summertime. I am sacrificing the sun if I stay inside. Can I get a middle ground ideal place? So it helps if you have a little bit of niche in there. It helps to be a little bit specific because people are weird. So people will be specific about stuff on there. And you will find like something that like you just typed in, you will find that exact someone to ask the same exact question or there's information on the same exact thing you asked for.
And so, what
So I
if
think
there's
the
not a
more
lot of activity
what?
on that? What if there's not a lot of activity? Like, do you just need to see a like or multiple? How do you think about it?
Yeah, I need to see something. Try this place in this part of the city. That's really all I need to see to add it on the list. I'm not very picky in terms of like,
Hmm.
oh, let me find out. It's like if I'm on the hunt, if I'm dating, like let's go find out. Let's go find out. I got a wreck here. I go on Google how many stars is it? 4.5. Like I am kind of a
Okay, so
four.
you'll check stars, you'll check reviews.
I'll check. I'll check stars. I'll check stars. Four and up. Check some pictures. Looks cool. Let's go try it. Yeah. Not. I don't put. I would say I wouldn't. I don't put that much thought into it. The Reddit search is just to get the name. Just to get the names.
Hmm.
Once you get the names, I would say put them in Google. How far are they? Where are they? What are the pictures? Do you like the vibe? You know, you need to like
Are
see
you
the
going
vibe of the.
everywhere? Does it not matter how far it is? Or is there a
It does. It does matter how far it is. If, for example, a new city, maybe you're trying to explore a new place, it's a perfect way to explore a new part
Hmm.
of town. It's like, oh, I haven't been to this part of town. The cool coffee shop there. Okay, maybe we'll go there. We'll go there for that day, for that weekend. It's like a little game. It's
It's
pretty fun.
fun. It's really fun,
Fun.
especially because I think so many people look at it differently and they just look at it as, oh, you're just going and you're spending a good amount of money on coffee. You're spending a lot on coffee or whatever it is. And when you can get it for cheaper or you can make it at home or something. But it's the whole, it's not, if you're looking at it that way, then no, it doesn't make sense. And of course, if you're just looking at it as where can I get the best price for certain quality of coffee? No, you can make a French press at home where you could, if you have a Breville, some people have Breville's, but that's not what it's about, right? That's
So
not
true.
what it's about. It's about the whole experience. It's also for me, I went this weekend and I brought a laptop and I got some stuff done too. So you can think about it multiple ways. Sometimes, just want to bring a book. Sometimes you just want to drink your coffee and look around and think.
Yeah.
You know, it, c- it, but it. it allows you to do something else. It's not just get coffee. It's get coffee and ponder and ruminate, or it's get coffee and get some work done. It's get coffee, explore a new part of the city.
Yeah.
It's more than just getting coffee. And for a long time, I didn't realize that.
To be fair, this is the first time you have just made me think about this in terms of like the value of the price of a coffee. This is baked in there. And I'm just thinking about it right now for the first time. Like that's baked in. Like that's why it costs
Dude,
$6.99 for a freaking fucking iced macchiato. It's
it's
baked in. It's
baked
baked in
in.
the vibe.
You just
You know what I
want
mean?
coffee, like then this is not. If it's just about the coffee, it's probably you could probably make it at home. Although there are some coffee connoisseurs. What's your order? What's your coffee order? Or are you not getting?
I'm
You getting tea? Some
ooh,
chai?
I'm getting a coffee, so I like this is yeah, okay. So recently I've been getting a decaf, which is new, but that's not on a consistent basis. Like this morning I had an Americano. This
Okay.
morning I was feeling like caffeine, but I'm trying to play a little bit with the caffeine in terms of seeing if I need it, if I don't. Usually the answer is no. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, I want some caffeine. And that's more of a pleasure thing, right? It's never really, if I'm, okay, if I'm really tired, if I'm really,
That camera switch was key. We were having a hard time seeing you, but we were still hearing you, and that's all that mattered. But now we get both, so it's just much better.
much better, right? Jesus, I
Yeah.
was under
Yeah,
the,
that was
yeah, okay.
tough. That
Anyways,
was tough.
no time. Okay, we're back. And I forgot what the heck I was talking. No, 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 no.
Caffeine,
Not
you're
this time.
messing with the caffeine.
Caffeine. We're
Did
playing
you
around with
know?
the
Yeah.
caffeine. Oh, okay. So usually, if I'm tired, I actually don't want to drink caffeine that morning because I will get more angsty. If I'm tired, maybe I'm a little bit frustrated that I'm tired. You know, I'm a bit frustrated that I made the decision to go to bed late last night. So if I feel frustrated and I add some caffeine on top of that frustration, I get this nice little macchiato of anxiety, actually, that I try to tend to avoid. So usually if I'm feeling tired, I would say, drink some water, bro. Like, you got it, you know? And actually, when I'm feeling the most energetic, I'm feeling like, ooh, ooh, then is when I'm more inclined to have a coffee just for the pleasure of having a coffee, which is weird, I would say. But
That is
yeah,
very counterintuitive, but it makes sense.
very,
It does make sense that you need to be ready for the caffeine. If you're not ready for the caffeine, you can't have it.
you can't.
And it's very self-aware too. I feel like you do a good job at that, thinking about how your body responds to certain things, being in tune.
Yes, because a lot of the times I find myself doing behaviors that I know are not going to make me feel good over the last couple of years. It's like, oh yeah, I'm really tired and I'm about to drink this coffee and I know it's going to make me more anxious than I am now. And
Mm.
I go dip in my espresso, you know, and it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Speaking of espresso, that used to be your drink of choice.
So,
Last time we
okay,
talked about this in LA.
so drink of choice, yeah, usually it is an espresso. Since the last couple months, we have been playing around, so we have been going with a decaf Americano. And for example, today I had an Americano because I did get a croissant too. I had a nice, lovely breakfast this morning.
Ooh, a croissant
And
buddy.
actually, I do want to talk to you about this, shifting gears a little bit in terms of because you skip your breakfast, right?
So I've switched. I've switched. I no
Uh-huh.
longer have been skipping breakfast. It's been a recent thing, but I'm
Okay.
no longer skipping breakfast. I now don't eat dinner. Again,
Whoa.
backing into sleep,
He said,
trying to eat sleep as they're trying to finish food as soon as possible so that I can get the
talking.
best level of REM that I can. So yesterday I finished eating. So I eat a snack for dinner. It's a snack. It's a banana, some nuts, something of that nature. Maybe some dates and peanut butter, banana peanut butter, something along those lines. A little apple. I don't know. And so it's very light. And so last night I stopped eating around 6 and got to was able to improve my REM by about 24 minutes. So I'll take it. I'm not, these aren't things I'm 100% sure of. There could be other factors, but I'm just doing some trial and error stuff. So we'll see. I could switch to back to not eating breakfast and eating dinner, tomorrow. We just
Okay.
see what happens. But are you not eating breakfast?
You are running a science experiment. You run science experiment on yourself.
Not
I
just
love it.
myself.
You run experiments on yourself. How long do you run experiments on yourself for? I'm sure it depends. But for example, this one, how long are you running this experiment for?
I'm not sure. These
Okay.
aren't very, these
Open-ended.
aren't science experiments that are really rooted in the scientific method. I'll say
Got
that.
it.
But
Got
it
it.
is now that I have a little bit of data, you can kind of do things and see if there is a pattern and see if you want to continue doing them or not. For me, yeah, I mean, because it's super clear with some things. Oh, I don't sleep that much. I go to bed at 12, wake up at 6, scores are shit. Go to bed at 9:30, wake up at 6. Oh, scores are actually really good. Right? So that's the most basic example. Oh, I go out and have a bunch of drinks, I get drunk, scores of shit. Right? So there's simple ones, and then there's more nuanced ones which don't always work. It seems this eating early is seemingly not always working, especially if I eat early, but then I exercise. I've noticed, oh, well, exercising actually elevates my heart rate even after the workout, especially if I do something
Mhm.
cardio basketball. And then
Mhm.
my aura will let me know that my heart rate didn't lower until later into the night as usual, or later than usual into the night. But sorry, I kind of cut you off though. You were talking about um what were you talking about? You were talking about something. And I cut you off. Oh, breakfast and when you're eating. And you said that you asked if I don't, you asked about my routine and if I'm not eating breakfast or not.
Yes. There's one more thing I want to ask you here, though, on this topic. Your lunch. So your lunch must be the biggest meal of the day. No, your breakfast is the biggest meal of the day.
Oh,
So
well,
what are you like?
honestly, they're both, I would say, yeah, breakfast is maybe a little bit bigger. Breakfast may be a little bit bigger, but not by much.
Okay, one observation. I see light coming through your window now, so we're starting to get into the middle of the day. Have you eaten yet?
No, I'll be eating.
You
So
have,
it's 7:06 a.m.
uh
I'll I'll be eating after this and then heading to work.
and so you're gonna cook. You cooking eggs. What's
Yeah,
your
I'm
usual?
gonna cook. I'll cook
Nice.
probably 3 eggs. I have sweet potatoes already made. So I'll have some sweet
Ooh,
potatoes. I'll have a half an avocado. I might
ooh.
have, sometimes I do some black beans and sometimes I'll have like black beans and some type of spinach or something. Maybe I'll cook the eggs with spinach or maybe I'll have some diced onions too. And so it's more of a, yeah, it's a hefty, and then I can't help myself, but I'll always grab a handful of cashews after because there's just something about looking at these salted cashews, my favorite type of nut. And then I might have a date in peanut butter too. I might do it. I know I might.
That is an excellent breakfast, and I'm jealous of that breakfast. That is my ideal breakfast because it's salty first. And that is what I'm learning, not through just the feelings of it, but through the science that
Oh,
salty breakfast first is the way to go.
whoa, I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of that.
And I am talking about from a glucose spike level, from the energy level, that starting off the day with salty foods will make you crave less sugar throughout the rest of the day. So starting your day with a croissant, as I tend to do, or something sugary, means that throughout the whole day, I'm like, yo, I need my spike. If I start the day with spike, your brain goes fat. It's spike day. So you're always like on the come down from that spike, and then your brain goes, yo, 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 brother, we're running out of fuel. We need someone else. Give it to me right now. So I give it to him, and then bang. And so we're running this like roller coaster of energy where when you start your day off with something salty, and I have noticed that in myself too, it's like you don't get that spike, so we're running kind of a normal baseline level of solid energy, and your brain doesn't go like, "Give me, I need that juice, I need that whatever." You're just running this steady, nice line of energy. So I'm just for breakfast, and
Interesting. So
I will.
when you hear about glucose spikes, and because that's been something that I've been hearing a lot about lately, and it's super interesting. I'm hearing about it from MDs, from PhDs, very acclaimed people, but I haven't. I do some things, right? They say certain things spike glucose more than others, and I know it's bad, but
Mhm.
I haven't really dove deep into it, and I haven't really looked into it. Where are you getting your information on glucose spikes?
I listened to, do you know this? It's this woman who goes by the glucose goddess, and she had a couple episodes with the Diet of the CEO that I've listened to.
Mm.
And I got interested in that because when I think about what I eat the most in my life, I eat a shit ton of carbs. So bread, pasta,
Mm.
and I eat sweets. And that's usually how I start my day. And that's usually what I eat. So that is like the one world where like I am not going to focus in on that in this season because I can't really control that much. Maybe this is an excuse, it is, but because I eat with the family and they cook
Uh,
meals for me, I can't really control what I can do so much in this time. But for the next, we're talking the back half of 2025, that's going to be my focus. We're going to have to check back in on that because I think my body is telling me something when it does. I don't have acne all anywhere on my body, but my back has quite a bit of acne actually. And
mine
my
has a little bit too.
yeah,
I have that same
and
thing.
so
Not really much on the face or anywhere else, but a little bit on the back.
and it's like, yo, what's going on? Brother, what's
Have
going
you looked
on
into
back
that at
there?
all?
I I haven't even gone to a dermatologist, but I've had this for a couple of years now, to be completely honest. And I have a little bit of it gets a little bit weird. I have a little bit of like fungus as well when you go to the lower. It's not that I have gone to the doctor with. That is non it's not like contagious or anything, but some spotting
Oh,
on
interesting.
my if you look at my behind. And
Okay.
so I reckon both of those things are due to what I put in my body. But I'm gonna find out.
We'll find
I'm
out
gonna find
next
out
week on the No Downside podcast what
on
type
the
of
No
fungus
Downside
is
Podcast.
growing on Isak.
Stay tuned. Stay
Stay
tuned.
tuned.
Episode 2 is gonna be up on Spotify in a second here. That's going up today. This one next Tuesday. Brother, have a wonderful day, man. What a great start to your morning.
I
Let's go.
know.